Okay, so today's project is to get the electrical inside the trailer working and get the batteries hooked up and make sure they work. So the way electricity works in a camper, I had to do a lot of research. It supports both AC and DC. AC is for your house and DC is what you get on the battery. Different types of electricity requiring different types of hookups. So the camper here, when it's plugged in, what they call shore power, it's plugged into the outlet in my garage. And that will power all the electrical outlets, the lights, the water pump, and any other appliances. The outlets in the trailer are AC, and all the rest of the electrical appliances and lights and water pump are all DC, which means that the energy is converted, electricity is converted when it's plugged in shore power into DC for all the other appliances. So this is all I had to learn and figure out. So right here is the power converter. So the electricity comes in from the outside, from the shore power, into this little fuse box panel, breaker panel. And then it's wired over to this power converter, and the power converter charges the battery when you're at a campsite or whatever, keeps it charged. That's basically all it does. And you'll notice that I'm on shore power right now. The outlets are working, which are AC, powered by normal house lighting, house electricity, and the lights, the LED lights, are working as well. So I've got everything, and even the water pump, if I run the water pump will work. So what I had to do is start reconfiguring the batteries, because they were all, the wiring was all messed up and wasn't in really good shape. So out here in the front is the battery. I have two right here. There are three main types of batteries. The battery that's in your car, and this one, which is a marine battery used for RVs and boats, and they're hybrid batteries, which means they have cold cranking amps in order to start the engine, and they also have a deep cycle capability, which means that they can go down, they can be cycled back and forth, discharged up and down. And this little battery I have here, which is actually hooked up, is a AGM pure deep cycle battery. So this can't start a car, but it can. It is great for powering devices because it can be discharged back and forth or up and down quite frequently, very often. However, there was an issue. I found that you can't discharge these batteries more than 50%, and there's no way in this trailer to tell, or on the battery, when is a battery discharged to 50%, because if you discharge it lower, less than that, then the batteries start to get damaged, and these things are expensive. So there's no way to really fix them once you've killed them. So I had to make sure that I only discharged the battery to 50%. Well, how do you do that? So I had to do some more research, and I wired up a meter I found on Amazon. Cool little device. Right here, I cut a hole into the wood, and see if you can see the meter. Okay, so it tells you the percentage charge of the battery. It also tell you the volts, and it'll monitor the battery's charge while you're using it. So that was really easy. I just plugged that right into the battery. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn off the AC power from the house, shore power, and see what happens, see if it all still works. Also in the battery, I wired up a disconnect right here, disconnect switch. They recommended that I have this so that I can disconnect the battery power from the camper through that. So if I needed to work on wiring or something, or if there was an issue, or if I was traveling and I didn't want to drain the battery for whatever reason, you just turn that knob and it turns off the power from the battery. Alright, so let's see if we can switch off the power in the garage and see what happens. Disconnect. And the lights are on. That's a good sign. And if we look at the meter, so we are at 78%, and it's drawing now. It'll stop probably around 66% and then slowly go down from there. It's calculating the load that's on the batteries now from the lights. So I've tested it and it goes down to about 66, 65, and then it kind of holds there. So the problem is, you'll notice that the dirt lamp that uses AC power doesn't work anymore. Let's see if I can get that in focus. So those outlets only work when you're plugged into shore power. So if I want to use my laptop, or we want to use other charging devices for phones or any other electronics and have a normal plug, a normal house outlet, what I have to do is what I did is I installed this power inverter, which takes DC battery power, the DC electricity, and converts it into AC. So that if I plug in my lamp now, there we go. Lamp is working, and now the beeping is now because there's too much of a drain on the battery, so I'm going to have to disconnect it. We're pretty low. We're about 56%, and that's the signal that it's giving me. Alright, so that is our electricity for the camper. It is working. I've got to figure out, how to lessen the load on the battery, and then maybe permanently install that inverter in here so that we can plug it up when we're in the woods. Alright, that's it. Thanks, guys. Okay, so now we need to get the bed working in the back of the camper. It's a pull-out bed, so this piece right here is the ledge that slides out, and so you can extend the bed to be the full width. When I was testing it out, I noticed that there were no braces here. This is the underside of it, and it was just buckling, and there was no way I was going to hold my weight. So I nailed and glued 3 braces that I hope are going to work. When I put it in there, we're going to give it a shot and see if this doesn't hold my weight and hold up under me rolling around the back. Alright, let's see. Okay, so there's the pull-out. It works. I laid on it. It's holding my weight, which is good. I put the front fabric piece over those bolts there, but it should. Of course, it's designed. Just fold in, and you've got your bench seat. And you need it for a bed, you just pull it out. Somehow, there we go. Very finicky. Here it goes. Okay. One more thing down, so that's our bed. I laid on it, it does support us, so that's a good thing, no buckling.